I'm 83 years old. If you walked past my house today, you would see a little old lady tending to her roses. You would see my nephews coming to visit on Thanksgiving, bringing me groceries, fixing the fence. They treat me with a gentle kind of pity. They think I am a sweet old maid. They think I never married because I was too picky, or because I simply never found the right man. They think I lived a quiet, innocent life, but they are wrong. In this small town, memory has a way of fading like ink left in the sun. The people who knew the truth are mostly in the ground now. So I can finally say it. I wasn't a spinster waiting for a prince. I was the other woman. For the best years of my life, my 20s, my 30s, I was the secret. I was the shadow. I was the name women whispered in the grocery store when they thought I couldn't hear. And now that I am near the end, I need to tell you what that life actually costs. Because it didn't just cost me my reputation. It cost me the only two people I ever truly loved. You have to understand the time we lived in. This was 40, 50 years ago. Our town was small. It was the kind of place where everyone knew what you were cooking for dinner just by the smell drifting down the street. He was married. From the outside, they were perfect. A handsome husband, a dutiful wife, a young son. But inside, it was a house of ice. We didn't plan to fall in love. It wasn't a game. It wasn't just a fling to pass the time. It was that terrifying, chest-tightening kind of love where you feel like you can't breathe if you aren't in the same room. We were soulmates who met 10 years too late. You might ask, why didn't he just leave? Why didn't we run away? In today's world, people get divorced because they are bored. But back then, and especially for him, it was impossible. His father was a powerful man, a high-ranking official in the county, a man with iron eyes and a heart made of stone. He controlled everything. When my love tried to talk about leaving his wife, his father didn't just say no. He threatened to destroy him. He told him, "If you leave that family, I will strip you of everything. You will be penniless, and I will make sure you never see your son again." My love, he wasn't a coward, but he was trapped. He loved his son more than anything. He couldn't risk losing him. So we made a deal with the devil. We accepted a half-life. I became the woman in the shadows. We stole moments like thieves stealing bread. 10 minutes in a parking lot. An hour on a Tuesday afternoon when he was supposed to be at a meeting. I lived my life waiting for the phone to ring. I spent Christmas Eves alone, staring at the wall, knowing he was cutting a turkey with her. I spent New Year's Eve watching the clock strike midnight in an empty room, imagining him raising a glass to a wife he didn't love. The town knew. Of course they knew. I felt it every time I walked down Main Street. The cashier at the pharmacy would look at me with cold, hard eyes. The mothers would pull their children closer when I walked by. To them, I was a home wrecker. I was a villain. They didn't see that I was a woman who was waiting. Just waiting. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself, just a few more years. His father will retire. His son will go to college. Then it will be our turn. I lied to myself for a decade. The regret I live with isn't about the affair. God forgive me, but I don't regret loving him. The regret that keeps me awake at 3 a.m. is about the baby. I was 32. I remember the morning I took the test. I remember sitting on the edge of my bathtub, my hands shaking so hard I almost dropped it. I was pregnant. For a moment, just a tiny, fleeting moment, I was happy. It was a part of him, a part of us that couldn't be hidden or denied. When I told him, he cried. He buried his face in my neck and he wept. He said he loved me, but then the fear set in.
I'm so scared.
He started talking about his father, about the scandal, about how his wife would take his son away if she found out. He looked at me with those sad, desperate eyes and said, "Not now. We can't do this now. We have to wait for the right time." And I was so desperate to be a good partner to him, so desperate to not add to his burdens, that I agreed. I went to the clinic on a rainy Tuesday. I remember the smell of antiseptic. I remember the sound of the doctor's pen scratching on the paper. I remember walking out of there feeling hollow, like someone had scooped the insides out of me. I gave up my child for a future that I thought was guaranteed. I thought, we will have another one later, when we are free. But later never came. It having in February, it was a bitter winter, the kind of cold that hurts your lungs when you breathe. The wind was howling through the valley. We had met earlier that evening. He looked terrible. Grey skin, heavy eyes. He told me things at home were breaking point. His wife knew he was pulling away. She was angry, and she had every right to be. He kissed me goodbye in his car. His hands were cold. He said, "I'll figure this out, I promise. Just hold on." He drove home to her. I pieced together what happened later. It wasn't a secret. The police report made sure of that. He got home late. His wife, she had finally had enough. She locked the doors. She bolted them shut. She wouldn't let him in. They shouted through the door, but she refused to turn the key. He didn't want to cause a scene. He didn't want the neighbours to call his father. So he went to the garage. He just needed a place to sleep. He climbed into his car. It was freezing in that garage, uninsulated concrete. So he turned the engine on, just to run the heater, just to get warm for a little while until morning. Maybe he was exhausted. Maybe the ventilation in the garage was blocked by the snow. He fell asleep in the driver's seat. Carbon monoxide is a quiet killer. It doesn't smell. It doesn't hurt. It just puts out the light. He never woke up. I found out the next morning. Not from a phone call, not from a friend. I found out standing in line at the post office. 2 women were whispering behind me. "Did you hear?" one said. "The official's son, found dead in his garage this morning. Carbon monoxide." The floor didn't move, but I fell. Inside, I fell. I couldn't scream. I couldn't cry out. I had to stand there, clutching my purse, pretending I was just a neighbour hearing bad news. I walked to my car, drove home, and howled into my pillow until my throat bled. I had no right to grieve. That is the curse of the other woman. You don't get a widower's veil. You don't get casseroles from the neighbours. You get nothing. The funeral was 3 days later. It was a massive event. The whole town was there. His father, the powerful man, stood there looking stern. His wife was supported by her family. His son, just a teenager then, looked so small in his black suit. I was explicitly told not to come. "If you show up," a mutual acquaintance told me, "they will have the police remove you." So I went to the cemetery an hour early. I parked my car way back behind a row of old oak trees far outside the fence. I sat in my car and watched. I watched them lower the only man I ever loved into the frozen ground. I watched strangers throw dirt on his coffin. I watched his wife accept the flag. I was 200 yards away, watching through a windshield that was fogging up from my own breath. I couldn't even say goodbye. I waited until nightfall. When everyone was gone, when the gates were locked, I climbed over the low stone wall. I walked to the fresh mound of dirt. I didn't have a wreath. I just had a single flower from my garden. I laid it on the dirt, whispered, "I love you," and walked away. That was 40 years ago. His wife passed away 10 years back. His father is long gone. His son grew up, moved to the city, has grandchildren of his own now. And I am still here. I sit in this kitchen, and the silence is so loud it hurts. And when I look back at my life, I don't think about the romantic nights. I don't think about the passion. I think about the baby. If I had been braver, if I had told his father to go to hell, if I had ignored the town gossip, I would have had that child. Even if he died, even if he still died in that garage, I would have had a piece of him left. I would have a son or a daughter calling me today. I would have grandchildren running through this empty house. I would have a reason to bake a cake on Sundays. I traded my child for a man who belonged to someone else. I sacrificed a real life for a fantasy of a future that never arrived. I am telling you this because I see young women making the same mistake. I see you waiting for men who say, "It's complicated." I see you putting your lives on hold for the right time. There is no right time. There is only now. Don't sacrifice your motherhood, your youth, or your dignity for a man who cannot give you his whole life. Because men, they can leave. They can leave you for another woman, or they can leave you because of a locked door and a cold garage. But a child? A child is the only love that stays. I look at my hands. They are wrinkled now. They are empty. Don't let your hands end up empty. Don't end up like me, watching your own life from a distance, parked outside the fence, while everyone else says goodbye.